Has he? Well, I guess to the extent you can. We've had enormous outpouring for this event, way more people than we thought, and we are really happy to see everyone here today. So, my name is Karen Talion. I am the chair of the Indiana Democratic Party. Thank you. I was going to introduce elected officials, but there are too many people here. Are there any elected officials that I'm not seeing? Hey, introduce yourself. Andrea Hunley, one of our state senators. Anyone else that I'm not seeing? Nicole Bolden. Nicole Bolden from the city of Bloomington. Anybody else? Anybody else? I don't want to miss you. I'll get yelled at if I miss you. All right. Well, we're here today for a really important event, but I want to introduce, I don't see him, Congressman Andre Carson.
So many Hoosiers to be back with real people. Now, I think the enthusiasm in this room should give us all hope. We have a Congress right now that is more interested, oh man, we have a Congress that is more interested in protecting billionaires than they are releasing the Epstein files. We have a Congress, amen, we have a Congress that is willing to cut back on Medicare, Medicaid, and even play with privatizing Social Security, all to protect their donors. That's not leadership. When I look across this room, I see what our democracy is really about. That's right, Dana. That's right. That's right, Dana. You know, a democracy is built of coalitions. It's built of the Latino coalition. It's certainly made up of the Black coalition. It's made up of the Jewish coalition. It's made up of Muslims, Arab Americans, Africans, Europeans. And sure, we may have philosophical differences, but that is what makes democracies healthy. That's what makes parties healthy. But at the end of the day, we have to put aside our differences and come together to regain the House of Representatives. We've got some great young leaders here. Yeah, we do. When I see young people like Dana, I get excited. When I see people like Carla Lopez Owens, I get excited. When I see Alex and Wes, I get excited about young people. But I also get excited when I see some gray hairs. When I see some people who know what it means to have high blood pressure, I get excited. I want someone who's invested in the future of AI, and I also want somebody invested in the future of SSI. We don't lording over us. That's what a democracy is not about. We want somebody who understands coalition building. Friends, don't you look for somebody to come and rescue you. We're going to rescue each other. Don't wait for the revolution. The revolution is here. You are the revolution. I'm the revolution. We are the revolution. Don't wait for the movement. The movement is here. And you know who else is here? A great man who I had the honor of serving in Congress with. He looks like a young Clint Eastwood. But when I served with him, I found him to be incredibly brilliant. I found him to be incredibly thoughtful. I found him to be humble and kind of funny. But most importantly, outside of his title, outside of his impressive background, he cares for people. People don't care where you come from, what you do, where you went to school. They want to know if you really care about their needs. And Beto O'Rourke cares about your and my needs. Give it up for the parents' future, Beto O'Rourke.
All right. Hey. I wonder what Clint Eastwood thinks about all this right now. You know, I did get to serve with Andre for 6 years in the House. And you all know politicians. You have them in your life. It's just part of our system. It's who we are. Most dangerous place to be is between a politician and a microphone, right? They want to be heard. They want you to hear them. And too many of them talk too much and blow too hard. But the congressman that you have defies that reputation and that expectation. When Congressman Carson would speak up in a caucus meeting or on the floor of the House, it was because he was talking about something that truly mattered, something that he was going to add some real value on, something that we, as a result of all that, were going to pay attention to, and was going to change the course and the direction, the fate and the future of not only how we voted, or the legislation that we proposed, or the way that we moved forward, but who this country would be at the end of the day. So for someone who does not trumpet his own success, who isn't looking for the pats on the back, you may have grown accustomed to his leadership. You may even have, God forbid, taken this guy for granted. I want you to know that you have a treasure for the country right here in Indianapolis, someone to be proud of, someone to be grateful for, someone we are lucky to have leading the fight, not just for Indiana, but for this country day in and day out. Thank you, Congressman Carson. Madam Chair, we have a new chairwoman here in the state of Indiana. We wish her Godspeed. I have told her whatever she needs, we have got her back. We are here for her every single day going forward. No pressure, Karen, but we are dependent on you right now. Indiana has to come through, and you are leading the charge. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Te agradezco. Hey, I am so grateful that each and every single one of you made some time to join us today on a Sunday. You've got so much else going on in your life. We're really not supposed to be talking about the country and politics and elections. Remember, this is not an election year. This is 2025. It's not 2026. In fact, maybe we were supposed to wait until 2028, right, to start paying attention about the presidential race and what's going on. And look, here you are, defying those expectations and the conventional political wisdom in this country. And the last place that people are supposed to rise up, to stand up, to be counted and organized is in Indiana. And yet here we are today, a Texan, and the folks from Indiana, we didn't get the memo that we don't count, that we don't matter. You know, the DNC, in their infinite wisdom last year, spent more than $1 billion on 7 states not named Indiana or Texas. And look, I understand those are important key battleground states, and it was imperative that we win them. But when you tell the other 43, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Indiana, Texas, the rest of us that we don't matter, that our votes are either taken for granted or you have written us off, what do you expect to happen at the end of the day? Indiana is important. Indiana matters, and we're showing up here in Indiana because Indiana must pull through for this country. We are counting on you. We are betting on you, and we're going to work and fight with you day in and day out. You are here. You are here, as am I, because we love this great country. Not perfect, never been there, but never stopped trying. And for my money, the best thing going on the planet still. Part of that, I think, is that we have chosen not to define ourselves as a country by our race or our religion or even the country in which we were born, to the comments that the congressman was making earlier. We don't even define ourselves by our geography. We were America when we were 13 colonies. We were America when we were 50 states. America, I think, I'm going to lay this on you, you tell me how you feel about it, is defined not by those things, but by this incredibly radical, revolutionary idea that each and every single one of us essentially is the same, that all of us are created equal. And even more powerful and revolutionary than that is what flows forth from it, that we should each expect to be treated equally, the same under the laws of this land. No one is above them. No one is below them. There are no kings. There are no lords. There is no nobility in this country. It is simply a government of, by, and for the people. And I bet that you love America every bit as much as I do. And you're here right now because you love this country and you see that this country is in trouble. That very idea is under attack unlike any time over the last 249 years. And in my thinking, there are two ways in which we can meet this moment. Both of them understandable, including the first, which is to succumb to the temptation to despair. I mean, who are we up against literally the most powerful man on the planet, backed by the wealthiest people in the world, who controls not just the White House, but the House of Representatives, the United States Senate, the Supreme Court, state legislatures, and governor's mansions across the country, in your state, and including in mine. I understand and I get it, and sometimes I'm tempted as well. How the hell are we going to pull this off? The other way to look at this is to count yourself so goddamn lucky to be alive and drawing a breath right now in the greatest country on the face of the planet, with the chance to save America at its moment of greatest need ever. Now think about it. Think who's preceded us. Think of who we are, what we're made of, and where we've come from. In 1776, as we lay down this idea from which everything over the last 250 years has flowed, we took on the most powerful, the mightiest empire on the planet, and we beat them to establish once and for all that we would be free from kings. It wasn't even 90 years later that we took on the Confederacy and the idea that we wanted to be free from, that one man can earn his bread, wringing it from the sweat of another man's face. All of those armies of the Confederacy, the nearly 25,000 Union dead from this very state who willingly gave their lives to realize the ideal of this country. And I passed that war memorial on my way over here. More than 400,000 people from this state, men and women alike, traveled across the Atlantic, across the Pacific too, to defeat fascism and tyranny overseas, to protect democracy here at home for ourselves and our allies. And it wasn't even a generation later, peacefully, non-violently, but Jesus Christ powerfully, our fellow Americans were able to win the full civil and political and voting rights for each and every single one of us, regardless of your race, regardless of your gender, regardless of where you were born or the color of your skin. Crow South to make it possible. And here we are, inheriting every single struggle, all that service and the sacrifice entailed to bring us to this moment. You and I are the heirs of all of that. And what we do with this inheritance is going to define us in the eyes of history, and it's going to determine what is possible for this great country going forward. So, the eyes of our kids and our grandkids and the generations that follow are on us right now at this moment of truth, and we cannot be found wanting. Are you with me? Are we going to fight? And are we going to win? So now ask yourself this. Given everything that's at stake, everyone who has come before to make this moment possible, what if this is all over before the fight has even begun? From the moment he was named chancellor in January of 1933, it took Hitler 53 days to destroy German democracy. And at every turn in just those 53 days, every time he defied the German Constitution, every time he exceeded his authority, every time he broke down the rule of law in that homeland, the German press, the German politicians, and most importantly, the German public did too little, too late. In 53 days, he goes from, that's right, in 53 days, he goes from being this buffoonish thug who could barely hold power to the undisputed master and dictator of the German people. Well, maybe it doesn't happen that fast in America, but listen up. In the 6 months since he has been sworn into office, Donald Trump has defied the federal courts, a co-equal branch of government. He has dismantled congressionally chartered and mandated agencies and departments. He has colluded with corrupt public officials, and he has tried to escape accountability for his involvement with a known child predator and rapist. None of us have the facts or the files or the justice that those young girls deserve and need. And in addition to all of that, he has taken apart this democracy brick by brick, day by day. But that is not enough for him. Right now in the state of Texas, as you and I sit and stand here today in Indianapolis, he has asked Governor Greg Abbott and the Republican majority to give him 5 more congressional seats. Why does he want to do that? He's doing that because he knows that his deeply unpopular policies, like cutting millions of people off of Medicaid, like transferring hundreds of billions of dollars of our wealth to the richest people in America, like terrorizing our fellow hardworking Americans with these Gestapo tactics, these policies so deeply unpopular, there is no way he maintains control in the House of Representatives. And if he cannot control the House, there will be a check on his lawlessness. There will be accountability for his crimes and his corruption. There will be the very real prospect of free and fair elections in this country going forward. So realizing the stakes, as clear as you and I do today, he, with these Texas Republicans, thick as thieves, are trying to steal the 2026 election right now in the summer of 2025. This is the challenge, and I want to make the case that it's more important that we don't look at this as something for the people of Texas, but for the people of this country. Because if we fail to stop this power grab, and we all have a role in it, and I'll share it with you in a minute, but if we fail, that means the consolidation of authoritarian power in his hands after 2026 will be nearly unstoppable. Mark my words. What does that mean? It means more masked, plainclothes, federal officers without warrants or badges sweeping our fellow Americans up off the streets. It means that more of his political opponents targeted for retribution, persecution, and yes, even for violence. And it means it is more likely than not that a Republican majority Congress will roll out the royal red carpet for a 3rd Trump term. That is the consequence if we fail at this moment of truth. So you and I, we tell ourselves and we tell one another that we're going to fight back. And listen, that is good and well, and maybe that worked in another time, but I want to challenge you to think about not reacting, not responding, and not resisting. You know, there was a resistance in Germany. There was a resistance in Poland. There was a resistance in France. Too little, too late for the millions who died and the millions more who lost those countries and their constitutional republics. Instead of fighting back, let us fight forward. Let us fight through. Let us, like a boxer, get off the back foot onto the front foot, go from defense to offense. Take this fight, not to the 7 states that the DNC has chosen, but to every state in the union, every county within every state. Let us not await the punch thrown by these would-be fascists. Let us throw ours first, and let us throw it harder. You with me on that? What does that look like? It looks like this. The Texas legislature yesterday, Saturday, the committee that's looking at redistricting just adopted the maps that might award Trump these 5 new congressional seats. It comes up for a vote before the full state legislature tomorrow. But we have a card to play. You know what? You're right. Hitler never had to face you, and if he did, I don't know that he would have been successful. I don't know that he would have been successful. I am so glad you were on our team. Yes. I love this. If the Texas Democrats leave the legislature, leave the state, in fact, and break quorum, they will deny their Republican counterparts the numbers necessary to adopt and certify those maps and run this election in 2026 on them. Now, it is not easy. They'll have all of the DPS state troopers pursuing them, and you better believe in Trump's America, that will be the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, every agency of federal law enforcement hunting them down. In addition, y además, it's also terribly expensive. They make a grand total of, I think, $8,000 a year. All of them have some kind of side hustle or job to be able to sustain themselves, kids to raise, sick parents to take care of, and they're fined $500 a day to a person for every day they are not there. So, if we learn today that they break quorum, that they leave the state, and the call comes in to you to pitch in and support them, I want you to answer that call and give what you can. Are you with me on that? They will need our resources, our encouragement, and they'll need the moral support. They'll need you to make this argument to your friends and family and neighbors who say, hey, why are these Democrats skipping the state? Why can't they just get along? What's going on here? Why are you giving these guys some money? You need to explain that if we fail in Texas, we end up failing in Indiana, and we fail across the country. Here's how else we fight back. We ask those Democratic governors who have a trifecta the way the Republicans do in Indiana, in their states, we're talking California, Illinois, New Jersey, and New York. Let's not wait for them to throw the first punch. Let's seize the initiative, redraw those congressional districts to Democratic advantage, fight fire with fire. Folks, we're in a basketball game where the refs have left the building. The other side punching us in the face, dunking right over us. We're throwing up our hands at the audience. You guys see what I'm seeing? Fuck that shit. Let's fight back. Punch them in the face. Knock them down. Make sure that they pay the price for what they're doing. We've got to win. We've got to win at all costs right now. That also means here in Indiana, we've got to defend 2 incredibly important congressional districts in this state. And listen to me. I believe in you. We've got to pick up a 3rd.
Yes.
That 5th congressional district, they will never see it coming. We have a candidate. We'll come get you in a sec, but they will never see it coming. They're trying to change the board, rig the game in Texas and other states. They will not see it coming in Indiana. This is the sleeper story of 2026, but we don't win unless we start the work right now in 2025. So I want you to sign up to volunteer with the state party, with the county party, to get behind these great candidates who are putting themselves out there right now, okay? Let's make sure we do that. Y por el último, I also need to ask you to have faith that getting out there and protesting and rallying and coming to these town halls makes a difference. I know the doubting thoughts you have in your head. Does this really matter? In Indianapolis, in Indiana, in El Paso, in Texas, of all places? Tell you what, none other than one of Indiana's favorite sons, Abraham Lincoln, said the following in 1858. He said, look, there's the power of the presidency and the courts and the legislatures and the Congress. That's all good and well, but there is a power far greater than all of them combined. Public sentiment, the people, is everything. Without it, nothing can succeed. With it, nothing can fail. What you're doing right now, by getting in the faces of your fellow citizens, by holding your elected representatives to account, is changing public sentiment and perception and opinion on these issues. Arguably, the one winning issue for Donald Trump in 2024 was immigration. He is polling at 35% on that issue right now. These Gestapo tactics aren't popular, and when we share what's going on with our fellow Americans, they pay attention. So go to that next rally or protest. If you don't see one on the books, you organize it and make sure that your friends and family show up as well. But look, it's not just about fighting them. It's about fighting for a future that is worth saving in America. I think a lot of people in 2024 got confused when Democrats were saying, you know, we want to save democracy. We want to restore these institutions. And folks understandably are like, what the hell are you talking about, democracy? Where someone can spend $300 million to try to elect the presidential candidate of their preference? What are you talking about, democracy, when corporations are people and money is speech, and those corporations can spend unlimited amounts of cash to purchase outcomes in elections and the policies that we pursue? What if instead of saving this democracy, we talked about building one that is worth saving, right? So, repealing Citizens United, passing the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, making sure that there are term limits for every single position out there, getting big money out of politics, and removing politicians from redistricting and giving that power, all of it, to the people. But we won't have a political democracy if we also don't have an economic one. You know, if folks cannot get what they want and what they need from a government of the many, soon enough, they're pretty damn open to getting what they need from a government of the few, or a government even of one. What folks are asking for right now, to me, does not seem out of bounds for the wealthiest, most powerful country on the face of the planet. What about we build something, a vision based on ensuring that you're guaranteed that you just have to work one job to be able to afford to feed your family, to live in that home, that you can afford to buy a home if you work for it, because people are working for it now and cannot buy one. That your kids are going to do better going forward than you were able to do in your own life or your parents before you. That you can see a doctor when you're sick, see a doctor before you're sick, so that you don't get sick. Yes, that's right, so that you don't get sick. How about access to fresh and healthy food, space and time to exercise, a place to be with your family and your loved ones, because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. And what if, taking this from America around the world, we really stood for the full human rights of every single one of us, followed through on that foundational premise that we're all created equal? As you see them attacking transgender Americans, you stand next to those transgender Americans. As you see them attacking DEI, you stand up for diversity, equity, and inclusion everywhere across America. As they try to make us scared of one another, we embrace each other. And overseas, that means that we stand on those principles as well. Imagine America no longer complicit in the bombing and the starving and the slaughtering of innocent children in Gaza, ending the war and our involvement in it, using the awesome power of this country instead to work with the nations of that region, the nations of the planet, if that's what it takes, to establish an independent, sovereign state for the Palestinian people, and doing what we can to secure their safety, the safety of the Israelis, the safety and the security of everyone in that region. Sowing peace and reaping prosperity, and bringing that home to America. No longer standing by while our fellow Americans are swept up off the streets without constitutional protections, without due process, many of them sent to a gulag in El Salvador from which they will never emerge, a life sentence for, literally, God only knows what, because we never saw the charges brought forth. And it's not just thugs, it's not just terrorists, it's not just quote-unquote illegals. They are rounding up and deporting U.S. citizens, including children with stage 4 cancer, without their fucking medications. This is happening in the United States of America right now. No more in the future, because we stand up for the Constitution, for the Bill of Rights, for due process. We make sure that each and every single one of us treated with the respect and the dignity that we deserve as human beings. And let's imagine this, so that we don't have this happen again. Present company excluded, okay? But other Democrats along the way have talked a really good game about immigration, right? For 20, 30 years, you elect me and my goal is comprehensive immigration reform. I don't even know what that means anymore. Because we had power after the 2008 election, the White House, the House, and the Senate. We had power after the 2020 election, the White House, the House, and the Senate. And what did we do with it? So the next time that we have power, let's not talk about it, but let's act. Let's rewrite this country's immigration laws in our own image, reflecting our values, making sure every dreamer is legal, every dreamer's parents is legal, every hardworking American doing backbreaking work is legal, contributing to this country's success, even more so as full U.S. citizens. And look, almost all of us are on the same page on these issues. Yes, we want to control the border. We want to know who's coming into this country. We want to protect our loved ones from violent criminals, whether they were born in Indianapolis or in Chihuahua City. That's just human nature. But, lest anyone labor under the illusion, no immigrant has ever taken anything from you or from this country. Immigrants are contributing far more to the success of America than they will ever be able to draw down. We turn our backs on them at our own peril. So it's not just fighting against those who would destroy America. It is fighting for an America that is worth saving in the first place. Amen. And I close with the idea that I opened with. This last best hope of earth, in Lincoln's words, has been kept going, better or worse, más o menos, for these 249 years. All of that flows into this room now, here, today. The choice is ours. And we are either going to be the generation that nobly saves America or meanly loses that last best hope. We cannot be found wanting. And to the point I made at the beginning, we cannot wait until the moment has passed to begin the fight, because it might be too late. So I ask you to do all that you can with what you have, where you are, no matter where you are in this state or in this country, to bring your friends, your family, your fellow citizens into this fight as well. This will test us. This will try us. We may not prevail, but we are certain to lose unless we join this fight, and join it now. Are you with me on this? Are we together? Let's go out there and fight, and let's win. Thank you, Indianapolis, for showing up today. Les agradezco. Gracias. Thank you.